So I think what you're going to see this time is a much more determined attack to systematically eliminate the power of the regime. Iran made a big mistake striking into these Gulf countries because they may have found more solace there had they not attacked. And as you just mentioned, I'm not going to speak for these countries, but if you listen to the news, it's apparent that they are not only going to defend themselves, but some of them now are going to join offensive operations. But they are now going to reap the ugly benefits of having attacked their brothers and sisters.
Hello and welcome to the Middle East Report, your one-stop shop for all the news coming out of the Middle East, and I'm your host, Ali Razamanji. I come to you today with an emergency broadcast as Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran since 1989, has been killed in Israeli and American airstrikes, and now it leaves the country and the region in full-on turmoil. We're joined to discuss this by Philip Breedlove, General Breedlove, former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO in Europe. He was also heavily involved in the US armed forces. Hello to you.
Good morning.
I want to ask you first for your reaction to what we've seen in the last 24 hours or so.
So I don't think the world should be as surprised as they seem to be about what happened. The United States and to some degree Israel has been messaging for some time that if Iran doesn't change its path, then the U.S. would come and change its path for it. And so I think the surprising thing is the world expected the United States and Israel to go to war like they have so many times in the middle of the night and other things. And the United States and Israel both attacked in the morning of a bright, sunshiny day and carried the attack out. I'm an Air Force officer. I flew the F-16, and so let me just brag a bit about what the Air Forces of the United States and the Naval Air Forces of the United States and the Israeli Air Force, what they have done. It's quite extraordinary. They have blanketed Iran targets. They have essentially in one day established air superiority again. They have taken out the supreme leader, as you said. And frankly, that deserves a small moment. This attack was probably, in fact, I'm absolutely sure it was planned for a different time. But when this target to be able to take out the leader and others popped up, this entire massive operation was moved forward in time. And that is not easy. I would offer to you no other air forces in the world could have pulled that off. And they did it with incredible capability and skill. And so we're in a position right now where Iran lays bare, and now the United States and Israel will prosecute a determined war to eliminate the regime.
Okay, we'll get to the geopolitics of this in a moment, but I wanted to ask you, what were the technical details of how this attack actually happened? What do we know about that?
Well, there's a few things that we can talk about. There are others we can't. The bottom line is you have put extremely accurate intelligence together with extremely accurate weapon systems and weapons, and therefore you have had a nearly completely successful attack of Iran. You've had another demonstration of Western air power, basically obviating Russian equipment on the battlefield. The Russian surface-to-air missile systems, et cetera, were completely defeated in this attack as they were defeated in the previous attacks, et cetera. And what more traditional air power incorporating suppression of enemy air defenses, what we call SEAD, was able to essentially eliminate the Iranian defensive systems. And as I said, now with air superiority established over Iran, the Western forces will begin to systematically disassemble the regime power.
Okay, let's turn to some of the geopolitics of this. The reaction from Iran, as you've expected, has been pretty ferocious. They've attacked US bases as you'd almost expect that they would, in Bahrain, in UAE, in various parts of the Middle East, to varying degrees of success in most cases. Do you think that the region is now on the brink of a wider scale war, or at least a wider scale spillover? Because that's kind of what we're seeing already.
Well, first of all, I think Iran made a big mistake striking into these Gulf countries, because they may have found more solace there had they not attacked. And as you just mentioned, I'm not going to speak for these countries, but if you listen to the news, it's apparent that they are not only going to defend themselves, but some of them now are going to join offensive operations. So I think it was a huge miscalculation by the leadership in Iran, and possibly the destruction of a big part of that leadership may have clouded judgment, etc. But they are now going to reap the ugly benefits of having attacked their brothers and sisters in the region.
In some ways, I mean, I'm no apologist, but I was going to ask you, because of the way international law is it a legitimate target in some ways to attack a US base that is based obviously in a different country? Because I don't believe that the Iranians have the capability to attack 6,000 miles away in America.
Well, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a fighter pilot and then a military commander. I let law lay with lawyers, so I don't know what's by law a legitimate target. It does not surprise us that if they're going to attack into other Gulf states, that they would aim at American interests there, because what they want to do, I think, what they had hoped to do, was to get the Gulf states to rise up against this attack into Iran, and they got exactly the opposite.
Yeah. Okay, so let's turn a bit more to the President Trump of this all. And President Trump clearly, in some ways, shocked them, like you say, because he attacked during the day. He announced this operation 2 days ago, and, you know, in some ways, the death of the Ayatollah, almost, you could say it's been successful because of that. There have also been consequences like the deaths of 100 schoolgirls. We've seen that reported in the news.
And do you believe that? Do you believe that? I could have written that headline a week ago. These are the kind of headlines that are going to come out of Iran when a war starts. Until we see the proof of that.
There are casualties, as you know. It's not as if
Of
war is
course.
without casualties.
Of course.
I think you know that better than most. I was going to say, though, is President Trump acting here with rationally achievable games? Because there is a point here. The toppling of Saddam Hussein led to a fallout. Most people won't deny that. And certainly, what's happening here, are the achievable aims realistic? Because you are taking on a country from 6,000 miles away without any boots on the ground.
Yeah, so we'll see. Just watch. Remember that in Operation Rising Lion and Midnight Hammer, we decided to stop because the destruction we were causing, what we thought may have been counterproductive. But we stopped, and we could have kept going and done this very same thing back then, minus the leadership, of course. That was a new target in this attack. But I think that what's going to happen now is we went through Rising Lion and Midnight Hammer, and Iran did not change its tact. It did not address its ongoing nuclear program, and et cetera, et cetera. And so I think what you're going to see this time is a much more determined attack to systematically eliminate the power of the regime.
So in some ways, because this attack didn't achieve those goals effectively, in some ways bringing Iran to heel, I suppose, are we saying that to successfully achieve regime change, we're expecting more action, and certainly Donald Trump has to take more action to achieve those goals?
I would say it differently. You've painted it very negatively. The first two attacks, Rising Lion and Midnight Hammer, the West decided to stop. They could have kept going. I think that was, you can't call it an olive branch because we had attacked Iran in the first place. But the fact of the matter is the West gave Iran a chance, and Iran chose not to take that chance or that opportunity. And now you will see a very different treatment of Iran.
Yeah, I mean, no one's going to mourn the death of the Ayatollah, and that's worth saying. No one, absolutely no one will. But it doesn't look like Iran is going to collapse overnight as well. That's something that's become clear because, of course, it's a theocracy. Theocracy. It's not a one-man sort of operation, and that's what makes this challenging in some ways, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And here's the other thing. Again, I don't do politics, so I'm not going to pick on our president or anybody like that. But you heard what the president said in his speech. He's trying to, in the same operation, take down the IRGC and the theocracy, but he's trying to offer an olive branch and an opportunity to the rest of Iran. Many in the West believe that the great majority of Iranians want to be a part of the West and want to be a part of that approach to their lifestyles. They have led it before and they know what it's like and they want it again. And so this is the hard part. How do you disassemble the IRGC and the theocracy, but not set the stage for dismay or to hurt the opportunity for the rest of Iran to take over and go forward? So the selection of targets, the attempt to keep down collateral damage, and all the things are going to be a big part of Western attack plans so that they can, again, get rid of the bad and usher in the good.
Yeah, it's really a question of what happens now, and I've got two more questions really for you. I mean, one of them is there's an argument, and I appreciate. I know what your position on this will be. There is an argument on morality of attacking a country which you could say hadn't started a fight with you. I know you're not a lawyer, so what do you take on that argument? What's your take on that argument?
Iran has been starting fights from us from when they started killing Americans en masse in Beirut, Khobar Towers, when they struck our ships. I don't buy your argument at all. Iran has been screaming death to America for a long time, and they, outside of major world wars, are one of the top killers of Americans overseas. I must tell you, I don't buy that argument at all. Iran started this war a long time ago, and we've had several presidents who did nothing about it. Now we have a president, and again, I don't do politics. I'm not endorsing anything that happened. I'm just stating a fact. Now we have a president that's going to do something about it.
To be clear, that's not just my position; it's the position of the UK and other countries as well, who have all said, they've supported the bringing down of the Ayatollah, but they have said that this is sort of in contravention with international law. So it's not my position. I'll just be clear with you. The final question I really have for you is, what happens now? I guess what are we looking out for next in the next few hours and days, because the situation is developing increasingly and very quickly.
I think you're going to see more of the same. America and Israel will go back and revisit some of their initial targets. There's more leadership that needs to be eliminated. We need to absolutely make sure that the Iranian Navy is incapable of blocking the straits. We're going to keep revisiting the suppression of enemy air defense missions so that we maintain control of the skies. And as we're able to maintain control of the skies, I think that the forces of Israel and the U.S. will continue to try to disassemble, destroy IRGC capabilities and regime capabilities, and try not to lose the support of the rest of the Iranian people.
General Breedlove, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.